when it comes to inner game, I think the most important thing to understand is you cannot develop inner game without outer game, right? They can help each other, they can benefit each other, but you cannot just build inner game. If you are like, I'm going to meditate, and then once I'm present all the time, then I'll start approaching, that won't work. If you're like, I'm going to, watch this course, and once I have all the lines memorized and I've got enough knowledge, then I'll start approaching. That's not actually improving your inner game, it's actually making it worse. So I want that to really land, because that's very important. If you are learning inner game and not practicing outer game, your game will more get worse than get better, because you're going to get more and more deep into analysis paralysis. And this is one of the most important things I could possibly talk about that can change your life. This is not just about pickup, it's really about anything you want to achieve. But for me, what happened is when I was 16, I really wanted to learn game, but I was terrified to like approach a girl at the mall or whatever. So I didn't do that. Instead, I read all the books, I watched all the courses, I did hypnosis tapes. And hypnosis has its uses, but everything I'm doing is an avoidance strategy. And the more you avoid something, this is a psychological reality that you can learn from cognitive behavioral therapy. The more you avoid something, the more powerful it gets, the more control over your emotions and decisions it will have. So anything where you're avoiding, like, oh, I'm going to do this and then I'll start taking action. I'm going to learn and then one day. There is no one day. I'm going to wait until I move to a bigger city. The only exception is maybe if you live in a town with like 500 people. But even then, you should drive to a city that's an hour away, at least on the weekends or something. But there are very, very few situations where the only correct answer is not to just start going out. Even if you're not immediately going to get results. Even if you're obese and that's something you really need to work on, it's still going to benefit you to go out, plus you're burning calories by doing so, right? As long as you're not drinking. So it's important to really let it land that you can only improve your inner game through experience and then interpreting that experience. There is no way to just meditate, read, listen to hypnosis, and think your inner game is going to get better. And even saying, all right, well, I'm going to get into better shape, I'm going to work on my career, I'm going to level up in whatever area, build good habits. Yeah, that will improve your self-esteem, and it will even make you more attractive to women. But because you're avoiding the thing that your ego is attached to, the thing that's really hard, it's actually going to make game get harder and harder, and you're going to have more and more resistance to it. So yes, those things on a certain level, they obviously benefit you. But if you're like telling yourself, once I get to X level, then I'll start approaching, it's going to be a type of procrastination where the monkey on your back is just going to get heavier month over month. And so even in that situation, it's better to bite the bullet and do the thing that you have the most resistance to. And there's a great quote, I don't know who came up with it, but whatever you resist the most is your true north. And for most guys, I saw a stat recently, 45% or something around there of men between the ages of 18 to 25 have never asked a girl out in real life. Think about how tragic and sad that is. And that's because we live in a world where the idea that approaching women is become terrifying, right? It's become overwhelming. And so that is the one thing you can do that will change things the most. Because approaching women, and this is also important about inner game, is not just about getting better with women. It's about being someone who faces your fear. It's about overcoming your ego. It's about building self-discipline, building willpower, because it's hard, right? At first, it's very hard. It takes more willpower than pretty much anything else you could do. So doing this will also have it's called a keystone habit, will have a positive effect on every other area of your life. So it's important to realize that game is not just about getting laid, it's about the version of yourself that you want to be. And any excuse that you tell yourself, oh, I need to learn, I need to do this, that is a lie that the fear center of your brain is convincing you of. that the ego part of your brain is convincing you of. And so you have to realize that a lot of the messages that your mind, the voice in your head, gives you are not true. They're not based on anything real. They're simply based on these primal emotions, emotions like anxiety and fear and hopelessness, whatever, depression, that those feelings are going to turn into that voice in your head, and you can't always trust the voice in your head. That's what a lot of inner game comes down to, is being able to distance yourself from that voice in your head. Being able to realize it's just a voice, it's not always you. It's not really you. And sometimes you have to deny it. Sometimes you have to realize that's an emotion talking. And so that's a whole huge topic, but the best way you can do that, that I found, are two things. And this will change your inner game over time drastically. Being able to identify these thoughts that aren't yours and countering them. One is just mindfulness meditation, which I recommend doing it at least 20 minutes a day, build up to that. You can use Calm, you can use Headspace, you can use a variety of different things. Take guided meditation first, because if you do it just based on instinct, you're probably going to do it wrong. But over time, through doing meditation, you'll have more distance between your thoughts. And it also will help you have more willpower, and it'll help you have more focus and less anxiety. So a lot of benefits. Now, does that mean you need to meditate until there's no anxiety and then you start approaching? No, right? That's a coping. That's cope. But it is going to benefit you to take on that habit. The second thing is something directly from cognitive behavioral therapy that I've used to drastically help myself with anxiety. And it's called the Daily Mood Journal, which might sound kind of cheesy, kind of nerdy, but it's kind of the center of a lot of CBT. And basically, it's an exercise where you talk about something that made you anxious, or an experience where you were anxious or depressed or whatever. And you can relate this to dating and women. Like, I don't want to approach women because I think that I'll get a bad reputation. I think I'll just get rejected, whatever. And you do this, fill this out, and it basically helps you find out the lies in your thoughts, or why those thoughts are deceptive, why they're not true. And so once you logically prove that these limiting beliefs, and I'm not going to go through the whole process because you can, by the way, I would get the book Feeling Great or When Panic Attacks to have a guide for doing the Daily Mood Journal, but you can also just look it up online. I'm sure there's guides. But when you fill it out, you start to realize these beliefs are not true, that they're based on what's known as cognitive distortions. And then you're able to separate them and disprove them more and more. Now, of course, this is when paired with taking action. Because even in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the most scientifically proven type of therapy, even within that, one of the exercises is called rejection training, which is going up to women, approaching them, asking them on a date, and just taking the rejection, right? Getting over the fear of rejection. That you can join my mastermind group right now, completely free, for 7 days. And all it takes is like 30 seconds to sign up. You can see what's in there, see if you like it, see if it has value for you. And it's very easy to cancel if you're like, this isn't for me. If you decide that, you can very easily cancel, takes 10 seconds, and you won't be charged a thing. But it's very affordable, and the value in it is very significant. And for the next week, you can join for free with a free trial. And that's something that normally is not available. It's not going to be available after this week. And this is something where you get coaching with me. You get to actually ask me questions live, be in the hot seat, where I help dissect basically and diagnose what your specific problems are, what's holding you back from getting results, and give you a specific action plan to get to the next level. And then hold you accountable in the following calls week after week to make sure that you're consistently making progress. Not only that, but you're also being surrounded with people who take this seriously, because there's free groups, but guess what? In the free groups, there's a lot of spam, there's a lot more negativity, there's a lot of people not getting results, and the quality, when there's a barrier of entry, does increase dramatically. That's 100% true. So the quality of the group's much higher, and that's something that I would definitely recommend checking out. You also get access to my God Mode online course and the Infield collection, which is now over 6.5 hours of infield videos that you cannot get on YouTube. And these are infield breakdowns of myself approaching women, not just getting their number, but these are all videos of myself taking them home, all the way from approach to taking them home. And that's something you can get access to for free in the trial. If you decide just to watch those and not keep the trial, you can do that. But a lot of people will probably decide to stay because they'll see the value. They'll see that there's 2 members in this group in the last month who lost their virginity. I might read the post of one of the guys who lost his virginity recently, partly thanks to joining the group.